Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to commend you and actually Board Member Rojas, and thus far it's been a very efficient day. I think we are moving along despite the number of items we have. I do have a subsequent engagement that I may be leaving prior to the conclusion, but I'll be here at least until 5, so I want to definitely thank you, for the opportunity. I'll try to be brief, but I have a question relative to technology, curriculum, and related issues. I know that this district has made some significant investments, and what I have done as a practice, I kind of waited until things have settled down in the schools, and I started to now make school site visits. From an operational standpoint, there were some gaps. I've identified those and spoken with the region superintendent about those issues. Dealing with safety and security on one issue, the region superintendent, Dr. Pace, and Chief of Staff, Mr. Bueno, responded with deliberate speed and follow-up. But obviously that is something that may need to be looked at very carefully on the security front. School site, Raptor system, making sure that our Raptor systems are fully functioning. I had a two of two experience at a school. Went to one school, the system was down. Went to another school, the system was down. And this is obviously a security issue at our school sites, and it's twofold. It's not that a system won't break, it's about a sense of awareness and urgency around that particular issue. I know who I am, and schools know who I am, but when I walk into a school, I take out my identification and I expect it to be slid into the slot. I'm not one to carry my ID all the time, my school board ID, but I have my ID and readily give it to the staff. So I think that is something that needs to be looked at, and I'm sure it is. So I wanted to make that point. Since I have the platform, I would have waited for Dr. Perez's committee to bring that up, but I just wanted to share that in my notes, and I'm sure that the appropriate staff is listening. And I want to say once again, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. Bueno was right on the spot. Dr. Cabrera, right on the spot. Dr. Pace, right on the spot. So they're very responsive to it. But it was a 2 for 2. Go to one school, system down. Go to another school, same day, same morning, system down. My next concern that I'm sure is on the radar, which is a technology issue. I know the district made some significant investments in technological resources, and Board Member Santos, who's not here, and Board Member Rojas, who ironically is not here, have really been vocal advocates for technology and security and enhancements, as well as the board with the approval of the budget, and as well as the superintendent with the recommendations for technology. I think, Mr. Superintendent, if we go back a few years, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, under your leadership and the leadership of this board, got the deployment of the one-to-ones right. I think we know a district, is it maybe the largest or the second largest in the country? Their deployment approach got it wrong. So this district got it right in terms of the investments of resources one-to-one, but also, Dr. Pendros-Mendengal, the investments relative to the GOB, which people often restrict to brick and mortar, but the GOB also had a predicate as an enhancement to technology. Fast forward to where we are right now. I visited some schools. Promethean boards are down. It's not lost on me that there's a lifespan to Promethean boards, and it's not lost on me, as many of you who purchase vehicles, purchase appliances, that as soon as the warranty runs out, you have a problem. So I'm sure, and I'm going to clarify through a line of questioning, what's the date of the Promethean boards in terms of its expiration for warranty? And aside from the date and the identification of the problem, what's the plan? Because I went to a school and in excess of 10 Promethean boards were out, and I'm hearing yep. And it's not a matter of money, it's not a matter of resources. In some cases, the Promethean boards are now, with technology changes, have become somewhat antiquated, and now you have to rely on bulbs that may or may not be available. It's also not lost that most recently, so I do want to advise staff, I'm gonna offer that, but I'm not going to accept that as a full reason. But we do know that post March 2020, there have been some challenges with purchases, and now we got the most recent news about the blocking of the supply chain. But I offer that with the full knowledge that that's not the problem. Okay, that's not the problem. That's not the full problem, because some of these issues were long-standing. So again, I'm not here just to simply identify the problem. I want to hear about what's the plan. So my first question is, can someone speak to the expiration of the Promethean boards that represented a significant investment in this district? What's the expiration timeline? Because reasonably some things will expire and it will be out of warranty. That's number one. Once you answer that question, if you can, what's the anticipated plan? And number three, if there is no plan, then maybe we'll contemplate developing one. And any plan obviously has to have a timeline and it has to have a budget. So through the chair, if someone can answer those questions, those three questions relative to Promethean boards, expiration, potential plan for replacement, upgrades, etc., and related budget implications. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Through the chair.